Good day everyone. This is module 6 of the review for building laws, covering the topic on environmental laws. So the highest law in the land, the Philippine Constitution, has provisions pertaining to the environment, and that is in section 16 article 2, which provides that the state shall protect and advance the right of the people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. Also, we have PD 1151. This is the Philippine Environmental Policy, which was enacted into law in June 6, 1977. So that is 10 years prior to the 1987 Philippine Constitution. But this particular law has already provided the framework for environmental protection, that saying that urbanization can be undertaken as long as there is environmental protection. So section 1 is about the harmony between man and nature, providing the concerns on present and the future, as well as provisions for human dignity and well-being. It seeks to create, develop, maintain, and improve conditions under which man and nature can thrive in productive and enjoyable harmony with each other. Section 2 also has these goals for the environment, that each generation is considered as trustee and guardian of the environment. So each one must take part in the promotion and protection of the environment. Provides for safe, decent, healthful, productive, and aesthetic environment, and seeks exploitation of nature without degradation. Also provides for preservation of historical and cultural heritage, and that there must be balance between population and resource use. This is sustainability, and on the proper utilization of renewable and non-renewable resources. It fulfills the social, economic, and other requirements of the present and the future generations of Filipinos. Section 3 is the right to a healthful environment. So every Filipino has the right to a healthful environment, and to ensure that the attainment of an environmental quality is conducive to a life of dignity and well-being. So if you think na kayo ay naapektuhan by something like a project being undertaken na apektuhan ang health nyo, then you can use this law to seek legal redress. And section 4 is about the concept of environmental impact statements. So this is very important because projects, or some projects, are required to produce or prepare these environmental impact statements. Now, what is this Philippine Environmental Impact Statement? So, PD 1586 explained further the PEIS system, or the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System, wherein this law requires that all agencies and instrumentalities of the national government, including GOCCs, or government-owned and controlled corporations, even private corporations, firms, and entities, must prepare an environmental impact statement for every proposed project and undertaking which significantly affect the quality of the environment. So the PEISS sets a systematic EIA system or environmental impact assessment system. The lead agency in the implementation of this law is the Environmental Management Bureau, EMB, of the DENR. Now, what is an environmental impact assessment, EIA, to differentiate it from EIS, or the environmental impact statement? So when you say EIA, it is a process which consists of identifying and predicting the impact of proposed projects and programs on the biophysical environment and on man's health and well-being, and interpreting and communicating information about such impacts in a manner which can be utilized by planners as well as decision makers. The EIA is an evaluation procedure aiming to predict the cumulative environmental impact of a project during construction, operation, and even abandonment of the project. It includes devising enhancement and preventive measures in order to address any potential environmental consequences. The EIA is used to improve the planning and design the necessary or appropriate environmental management and monitoring plans to reduce adverse environmental impacts of the project. On the other hand, what is an EIS, or the Environmental Impact Statement? So while the EIA is a process, the EIS is a document. This is a document that provides a comprehensive study of the significant impacts of a project on the environment. It is prepared and submitted by the project proponent and or the EIA consultant as an application for an Environmental Compliance Certificate, or the ECC. Projects or companies with positive reviews for the EIA will be issued an Environmental Compliance Certificate, ECC, allowing the following: environmentally critical projects, ECP. So if your project is listed as ECP, you need to prepare an EIS. Or if your project is located within environmentally critical areas, or ECA, you also need to do the same. The ECC is required before proceeding to various approval processes, including building permits and implementation of the project. So these are examples of projects considered as environmentally critical. This is logging as well as heavy industries that contribute to air pollution and any other types of pollution. So what are these projects considered as environmentally critical projects, or ECP? Those classified as heavy industries, such as non-ferrous metal industries, iron and steel mills, petroleum and petrochemical industries, including oil and gas, as well as smelting plants. We also have resource extractive industries like major mining and quarry projects, forestry products and logging, major wood processing projects, or the introduction of fauna, exotic animals into public-private forests, forest occupancy, extraction of mangrove products, grazing, fishery projects, as well as dikes and fish pond development projects. Another ECP is infrastructure projects like major dams, major power plants, fossil fueled, nuclear fueled, hydroelectric, or geothermal, major reclamation projects, as well as major roads and projects. On the other hand, these are The areas considered as environmentally critical areas, or ECA. So if your project is located within these areas, then you need to prepare also the EIS. So ECA areas include all areas declared by law as national parks, watershed reserves, and wildlife preserves and sanctuaries. All areas set aside as aesthetic potential tourist spots. Areas which constitute the habitat for any endangered or threatened species of indigenous Philippine wildlife, flora and fauna. Areas of unique historical, archaeological, or scientific interest. Areas which are traditionally occupied by cultural communities or tribes. And areas frequently visited or hard hit by natural calamities like geological hazards, floods, and typhoons. Also, environmentally critical areas include those areas with critical slopes. So yun sa mga mountainous areas. Areas classified as prime agricultural lands. We also have the aquifers, recharge areas, water bodies. So if you have a project fronting a water body or adjacent to a water body, you need to prepare the same. Also areas, mangrove and coral reefs. So this is a aerial photo of a mangrove area in Manila Bay, but this photo was taken many years ago. This is at the mouth of Pasig River, so that is considered as an estuary wherein the salt water meets fresh water and is a rich area for fish, and mangrove is considered as a breeding ground for fish. However, this is what this place looks now. Replacing the mangrove trees are these houses, informal settlers occupying the mangrove area, destroying the environment at the mouth of Pasig River. We also have these. The picture at the top shows the area of Island Cove in Cavite, wherein that is a leisure park before, and with a zoo, also with mangrove. But now the area has been converted into a pogo area, and the trees were all cut down. How come that this kind of project was approved when in fact before you can develop an area such as that, which is considered as environmentally critical area, you need to have an EIS. An EIA must be conducted and an ECC is required. So before a project can start with the construction, or before any building permit is to be issued, the proponent must get first the environmental compliance certificate. So this is an example of an ECC issued to a medical center. So why is medical center included? That is because of the hospital waste. Other projects in urban areas that may be required to procure an ECC will be big buildings like shopping malls, high-rise buildings, condominium buildings, and any other structure that is large enough and would have a significant impact to the environment in terms of waste and pollution. So an ECC is a document issued by the DENR EMB after a positive review of an ECC application. The ECC certifies that based on the representations of the proponent, the proposed project or undertaking will not cause significant negative environmental impact. After the PD 1151, we have also PD 1152. This is the Philippine Environmental Code. Also in 1977, the Philippine Environmental Code, however, provides the framework for each of these environmental sectors: air quality, water quality, land use, natural resource management and conservation, as well as waste management. So the Philippine Environmental Code only provides the basic framework, and from here all other specific environmental laws were based. Let's look at now the specific environmental laws. The Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, this is RA 8749, is the law that provides a comprehensive air pollution control policy. Specifically, this legislative intends to apply air quality management in all point sources, in order to implement abatement and control of air pollution. Point sources would also mean buildings are included. The Philippine Clean Air Act does not absolutely prohibit incineration as a mode of waste disposal. Rather, only those burning processes which emit poisonous and toxic fumes are banned, and this includes hospital incineration. We have the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004, is RA 9275. This law provides a comprehensive water pollution control policy. Specifically, this legislative intends to apply water quality management in all water bodies in order to implement abatement and control of pollution from land-based sources. So this also includes provisions on liquid waste from buildings. We have RA 7586 is the National Integrated Protected Area System, or the NIPAS Act of 1992. So all areas under the NIPAS is considered as environmentally critical area and must require to produce an environmental impact statement. So the NIPAS Act provides a paradigm shift in protected areas management from the national government agency through the DENR to the local body known as the Protected Area Management Board, or the PAMB. The PAMB is a multi-sectoral body chaired by the DENR with representation from the local government units, or the LGUs, the non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, people's organizations, POs, and indigenous peoples, or IPs, through their Council of Elders and national government agencies. So the PAMB is composed of these entities. The protected areas include the following. We have buffer zones, national parks, resource reserve, wildlife sanctuary, tenured migrants, indigenous cultural community, terrestrial, wetland, marine, and marine sanctuary. It also includes natural biotic areas, natural monument, strict natural reserve, natural park, protected landscapes and seascapes, and wetlands. PD 705 is the Philippine Forestry Reform Code, and this defines the classification, management, and utilization of forest lands. RA 6969 is the Philippine Toxic Substances and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Act, mandating the regulation, restriction, or prohibition of the importation, manufacture, processing, sale, distribution, use, and disposal of chemical substances and mixtures that present unreasonable risk and or injury to health and the environment. We have PD 984 is the National Pollution Control Law and prohibits the throwing, running, draining, or otherwise disposing into any of the water, air, and or land resources any organic or inorganic matter or any substance in gaseous or liquid form that shall cause pollution thereof. And of course, that includes those coming from buildings. We have also RA 9003. This is the Philippine Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. RA 9003 provides the legal framework for the systematic, comprehensive, and ecological solid waste management program of the Philippines, which shall ensure protection of public health and the environment. The salient features of this law is the need for material recovery facilities and systems. So each community must have the MRF, and also large projects must have the facility, including shopping malls. Another feature of RA 9003 is the conversion of open dump sites to sanitary landfills. So sanitary landfills is considered the best option for garbage disposal. And also, the law provides a system for waste segregation, waste reduction, and recycling programs. And that's the end of the presentation on environmental laws. This presentation is protected by copyright and intellectual property rights laws. Reproduction and distribution of this video presentation without written permission of the author and sponsor is prohibited. Thank you and good luck to all.